Hello my friends, and welcome back to another Brotato Danger 5 random run, where we take a random character, random weapon, and try to beat Danger 5 with it. Hope you're all doing well. Let's see what the game has for me today. We've got the Fisherman. Okay, so this, of course, is the single character I'm probably most scared of, other than maybe the King, because Fisherman not only is maybe the hardest character in the game just in general, but it's especially difficult for random weapon runs, because the main skill with Fisherman is knowing how many baits you can buy on each wave. When you have a weapon that you haven't used with that character before, you just don't have that information. So we're going to have to kind of work out our strategy on the fly. Also, a lot of these weapons are not good for the Fisherman. A lot of the weapons you can start with are actually quite poor for you. So we'll see what we get, and we'll formulate our strategy accordingly. Javelin is a great roll. Javelin's basically a spear. It has less piercing overall, so it's still not as good as spear for Fisherman, but this is an excellent roll for the character, so I'm pretty happy with that. It's at least like top 5 weapons we could have rolled, so hopefully we can make this work regardless. Very happy that we didn't get something really horrible for the Fisherman. Making okay money off the first wave. Of course, Fisherman, the amount of money you make off the first wave is somewhat random because you've got 50% fewer drops from enemies. So you need to make sure that you have... So when enemies don't drop materials, you can just have less money than normal. I'm going to roll here. I kind of want to just buy melee damage. Javelin, despite being a ranged weapon, does scale with melee damage. I could also pick up harvesting, but usually on the Fisherman, you just want to get as much early damage as you can so that you can actually kill the enemies. I'll definitely buy one bait. I'm going to lock the goat skull because more damage is going to be good. I'm going to decide whether I'm buying a second bait based on how many javelins we find. With only 3, do I think I can get away with 2 baits? I think I can. And then I'm going to roll and lock another javelin. 2 baits is a lot for the first waves, but with 3 javelins, I should definitely not have taken so many hits there. I'm going to manually target, try to clear as many of these lampreys as we can. Getting ahead of them is really important, because when they charge, that's when you get in trouble. So, because Javelin doesn't have, or has lower piercing, it's not a spear. We weren't able to kill all those enemies, but we did get away with buying 2 baits, which is really important. Here, I'm going to roll, and I could take some regen, I could pick up, or I could roll for more offensive stats. I think I'm just going to take the regeneration. We'll buy another javelin. I'm going to buy 1 bait and then reroll and then lock these 2 javelins. Can we get away with 2? I probably can with 4 baits, so we will buy 1 more. If you don't get greedy-ish with baits early, then you're going to fall really far behind, so buying 2 baits I think is usually going to be good. Pull all the enemies into a corner there, and then you can run away from them. There is a school of thought that you should just buy like 20 baits on the first wave and then just run away. But when you're going for a win streak, I think that's not a good idea. If you just want to beat the character, then that can be pretty good, because then you can just run. I wasn't able to get that tree, and then you'll have a lot of damage for later waves. But that assumes that you're willing to restart a lot, I think, in general. Whereas for this run, we want to guarantee winning, so we're going to be a little more conservative with the baits. Here, just going to take 2 melee damage again, and movement speed is really important for the Fisherman to get out ahead of the enemies, so we'll buy 2 more javelins. I'll buy a bait, and I'm going to roll, and I'm going to buy another bait. So we're going to stay on 2 per wave for a while. We'll try to go up to 3 per wave once we have a little bit more damage output, but for now, I think we're staying on 2. I'll leave the goat skull locked still. Base, obviously, we're building so much percent damage. Base damage increases are really good for this character. Once I get just a little more damage, I think we'll be in good shape for being able to buy more baits here. We're on a 50-win streak with random weapons, so I was very worried about the Fisherman, because obviously this could easily be the streak killer. The fact that we rolled Javelin is really nice. It's possible I actually shouldn't be getting Curse on this character, just because if Cursed Lampreys spawn, they're really dangerous. Here, I am going to take the Harvesting. Although we are building some Harvesting, I definitely want more. And then we're going to upgrade our Javelins. I'll buy a bait. Peaceful Bee does cost me a melee damage, which is a lot of damage, base damage on our weapons, but also gives me some dodge, which we're going to want later on, and we can then get a free reroll, which is nice as well. I only bought one bait this wave. I think that's fine. We already have 2 Pierce, so I don't want Sharp Bullet, but we're definitely going to lock a Javelin here. So falling a little bit behind in terms of the number of baits that we're buying, but the main goal is just going to be to get strong enough and have enough defensive stats that we can kind of one-tap elites, and then we'll just play this somewhat conservatively. With a ranged weapon on the Fisherman, there's kind of a cap on the number of Lampreys that we can fight, because unless we get a weapon with infinite piercing, like a melee weapon, we just can only kill so many so quickly, even if our damage is super high, so we're better off playing this a little more conservatively. Making a little less money than a normal character would at this point, because I have bought a slightly fewer baits than I would normally, but that's fine. Attack speed, really good. And here I'm going to take the max HP. That gives me a little more leeway to take hits, which is very important on the Fisherman. We'll buy the bait here. Do I want Propeller Hat? Additional consumable healing is pretty nice. And luck obviously provides that. I think we will buy the Propeller Hat, then I will buy a second bait and a Javelin. We'll lock the Broken Mouth. Do I want another bait? I could go up to 3 this wave. We've got no armor, 6% move speed, and our damage output is fine, but not incredible. I think I will buy a third bait. We're going to try to get a little bit greedy with it. Feather, I'm going to pass on. Although I do want to build some damage, the Feather I just don't think, or build some dodge. The Feather is pretty expensive, and dodge is not that helpful early. I'm taking these hits, that's fine. I'm just gonna run away. Not gonna take that hit, ideally. And, okay, so it looks like we survived 3 baits. Now, of course, what gets you on the Fisherman isn't the Lampreys that spawn at the start of the wave. It's the Lampreys that spawn during the wave that are really dangerous, because they spawn very close to you. They don't all spawn in one location. Javelin also has the downside that as a ranged weapon, it's going to pop the pufferfish for additional projectiles, and it's going to spawn multiple Lampreys out of the blobfish. So we do have that downside as well. I really want to get to the point where I'm making as much money as a normal character would, which means I need more harvesting. But let's roll here. The 8% damage, obviously, it's not efficient to buy percentage damage on this character because you can just get that from baits. We'll take more attack speed to keep ourselves safer. I'm going to buy the Broken Mouth. We will take the bait. Bat, I'll pick up as well. I want both lifesteal and regeneration on this character, and we'll take another bait. Gentle Alien, we're going to pass on. More Lampreys spawning is too dangerous for this character, so we're going to avoid that. And then, do I want Terrified Onion? More move speed would be nice. So I think I will, and we're going to go up to 3 baits per wave starting now. We'll take another Javelin as well. Gonna definitely take at least 1 hit there, and we'll probably take another here. Oh, nice, we got our 4% dodge. That was fortunate. Probably if so I haven't played a Javelin Fisherman run before, as far as I remember. If I had played one and remembered how many baits I could buy on each wave, we would probably be being more aggressive with how many we could buy. But because I don't want to lose my win streak, I'm being pretty conservative with what we're buying here. This could cost me later in the run, but even if I die later in the run, I'll at least have learned a little bit more, so I'd rather die later in the run than earlier in this run. I'm going to take the base melee damage. Just increasing our damage is going to be pretty good. I'll take the Javelin, and we'll take a bait, take a Terrified Onion, and then roll. Little muscly dude, that's going to be great. because, of course, we need base damage and we need max HP. I'll take this bait. Lumberjack shirt we don't need. We're going to have enough damage. I can't remember if I bought 2 or 3 baits. I definitely should have been paying more attention. So we'll buy 1 more, and we will buy a tree as well and go to the next wave. Pretty sure we've only bought 3. Yeah, this looks like 3 to me. You can see that the cursed lampreys are really starting to be an issue, though. Our damage is high enough to clear the non-cursed ones very quickly. Once I get a slightly higher level javelins as well, we can probably go up to 4 baits. Now, of course, we're making less money than a normal character would because I've been very cagey about buying the bait. But, of course, each bait is 1 material for 8% damage. So we're still getting a lot of stats out of buying them. So even though it looks like we have less materials, our materials are going much further because we have the super efficient 1 material for 8% damage purchases that are giving us all of our damage output. Yep, more melee damage is fine. And then I could just take 9 more HP. This is our level 10 upgrade, though, so I'm going to roll for armor if I can find it. Attack speed. Actually, I'll take the attack speed. Attack speed is going to be really good as well. We will definitely take the beanie. I'll roll here. I'll take another bait. I'm going to upgrade our javelins. The fish hook I could buy, and I'll roll, buy another bait. So that's 3, and then I'm going to just lock all of these things because we have the fish hook, so if we get those cursed, it'll be great. One thing that I don't want to do is buy cursed baits, by the way, because they spawn more lampreys, and the additional damage stats are just not that important. We also, because the harvesting from baits comes from our Fisherman passive, and it's just based on the number of them that we have, we still only get 2 harvesting out of a cursed bait, so it doesn't get that much additional value. So usually we're going to skip cursed bait. Although I don't mind building some curse, the value of the extra curse is less high on this character because, again, we're just trying to survive, and we don't need a lot of like bonus stats because we get so many stats just from buying baits. We just need to find defensive stats and enough attack speed and damage that we can keep clearing the lampreys. I think we can go up to 4 baits next wave. We've been clearing the 3 bait waves pretty comfortably, though. Here I'm just going to take some regen just to keep us a little safer. The Shady Potion got cursed, which is awesome. Take bait here, buy both of these items, and then roll. That's number 2. I'm going to take the Blindfold. We have negative crit chance, and I do want to build dodge eventually. And so that's 3 baits, and then let's roll, and we will buy a 4th. I'm going to pass on the Wheelbarrow. We've got lots of harvesting just from our normal items. Then let's re-roll here and see if we can lock some items. Obviously, you never buy a Weird Ghost on the Fisherman because you can just die. So this is going to be a more difficult wave since we've got 4 baits, so that's more lampreys. But our damage output with these javelins is very high at this point. Going to take a couple hits here. Usually what you want to do too with the early lamprey spawns is you want to kill a big wave of them and then run away from any that remain. Then attack all the other enemies, and then because the lampreys have a cooldown time between when they charge. So you only need to kill them before they charge and shoot their attacks. So usually you can get 2 attacks in if you have enough attack speed between each charge. One of those attacks should be killing lampreys, and one of them should be killing everything else to give you more room to maneuver. So you can see my positioning when the lampreys spawn. Like, for example, up here, we ran away. We killed the first wave of them, then ran away, killed a bunch of other stuff, and then right before they charged, we killed a bunch more lampreys so that we minimized the number of charges, but gave us the most possible area to maneuver in. I'm going to take the attack speed over the max health. I think that is still just going to be more valuable for us. Pauldron, losing regeneration is painful, but pickup radius is pretty good for us, and we are now up to buying 4 baits. So we should have a lot of enemies on the field as well. That was 2. Metal plate finally got some armor. Having no armor up to this point is very bad, so I'm glad we found that. I'm going to lock the nail. Because we have fish hook, nail could actually be quite a bit of additional damage. And then this is 3 baits. Do I want the Javelin or a 4th bait? I think I'm just going to upgrade my weapon, and we'll lock this Mastery as well. Go to the next wave. Playing on only 3 baits this wave is totally fine. Again, normally I'd be getting much greedier on the Fisherman, but we're going for WINSTREAK here, so we're just trying to avoid giving up a death. And I'd rather learn how many baits I can buy each wave so that if I do die, then I have a better chance of winning this run next time. Javelin is just such a strong weapon, though. It's basically a spear, but with guaranteed crit chance and not infinite piercing. So it's still worse for the Fisherman because the critical hits are not that relevant for this character. You usually just want your damage high enough that the base damage of your weapons just kill stuff. But because spear is good, Javelin is also good for the Fisherman. Also, that 2 armor was such a gift. I'm really pleased that we finally found some armor. Jerky will definitely take just way more healing, so we're very happy with that. And then here, I'm going to take 9 max HP. The move speed would also be nice, as the range wouldn't be terrible either. But I think just having more survivability is important, and then a 4 armor upgrade. We only have 44 luck. I feel like we've actually gotten pretty lucky on the levels of our upgrades. So this gives me... How much base damage per weapon is that? I think that's enough to be worth buying, and we get 5 curse off it as well. The Mastery I will also buy, and then we'll buy the bait. We're not going to buy the acid. We'll take another bait. I'll lock the Silver Bullet. We don't really need Silver Bullet. I'm only going to buy 2 baits because this is a Horde wave, so I don't want to buy too many. Horde waves are probably the most dangerous for us. Elites we should kill very quickly because we have plus 200% damage. But Hordes can be pretty challenging because there's a lot of enemies to absorb attacks. Javelin does have inherent piercing, but not an enormous amount. So we could definitely get overwhelmed if I let too many lampreys spawn, and of course they're going to keep spawning throughout the wave, so we need to be really, really careful about how many we let spawn. I'll lock both of these for our fishhook. We have no pity bonus currently. The Mastery I'm buying as well, just because, again, I want to increase our base damage. When we're multiplying our damage stat so much, even small increases to our melee damage are huge. This strategy differs a lot, I think, from the default Fisherman strategy, again, because we're working it out as we go along. So, if you had a little bit more experience with this run, and had memorized the number of baits that you can safely buy each wave, then you could get a lot greedier, and that would have a higher win percentage, but involves having played the run previously, so we're trying to maximize our win percentage for the version of the run where we have not played it before and don't have all of that information. I would love to kill that loot alien, but I'm just getting kind of overwhelmed by the number of enemies on the field here. I think I can get to it. Yeah, I got it there. And then I'm going to try to work my way around here and kill these trees before the end of the wave without dying to the number of lampreys on the field. And we managed to do that. Actually made pretty good money this wave as well. Take the coupon here. Baby with a beard, we have no ranged damage, so I'm just going to recycle that. It can work with our lifesteal, maybe, but I think that losing 50 range is actually a real penalty for this character, because we've already lost 40 range, and Javelin's a ranged weapon, but not like the longest ranged weapon, and 55 materials is worth 55 materials. White flag I will take as well. This is an angle where we're going to take white flag because we have so many free stats. We don't need money on this character. We just need to survive, so we're going to reduce the number of enemy spawns. And then more attack speed, again, really important. Sadly, the Silver Bullet didn't get cursed, so often you can avoid buying Silver Bullet on Fisherman, because you should just have the damage to kill the elite super fast even without it. But since we're a lower damage version of the Fisherman, I think we're still going to get value from that. We'll buy 2 baits. I'm going to go back up to 4 baits this wave. So, and I'm going to pass on alloy. Roll again here. That's 4 baits. We will take the blindfold as well. Do I want the mutation? I think I don't care that much about the mutation. So even though I normally suggest buying items that have curse, even if they don't give you stats we want, on the Fisherman, it's a little bit different because the cursed enemies are actually a real penalty. And again, the cursed items are less helpful because if you need efficient stats off of an item, then you can just buy more baits. I think we can probably go up to 5 baits next wave as well. Unless next wave isn't the elite. I can't remember if it was 14 or 15. We'll check in the next shop. But we are comfortably clearing the 4 bait waves, so I think we can afford to go up to 5. And you really want... You get so many more enemies as you increase the number of baits that you buy. It quickly can become very, very dangerous. So you really want to be just obliterating the previous number of baits before you step it up to the next number most of the time on this character. Which currently we are. I'm going to recycle the toolbox. Obviously, we have no use for engineering. I will take the 2 regen here. I guess it only takes us up to 1 regen, but we have no healing. So I'm actually going to buy a little bit of regeneration. Okay, yeah, so we're going to go for 5 baits this wave. 2. I'll take the whistle. Do I want blood donation? Probably not. I just don't need economy like that. That's 3 baits. We can upgrade our javelin and roll. This is 4 baits. I'll take the Lost Duck. Wandering Bot's kind of interesting as well. But then we'll just take 5 baits, I think. And I'll pick up the Penguin. Compass. I still have positive crit chance. We don't care that much about crit chance, obviously, on the Javelin, because we have the guaranteed crits. You just want to keep it positive so that those are always 100%. And I do want more movement speed. So I could just buy the compass, go up to 20% movement speed. That's pretty expensive, though. I think what we're going to do is lock the compass, because if I get it cursed, I will buy it. And if I don't, then I won't. But I don't really want to reroll here for 34. I could reroll looking for items to lock, but remember we would only see 3 slots in the shop because one of them's always going to be a bait, so re-rolling on Fisherman is less valuable as well. This is a 5 bait wave, so I need to be a little careful here. A lot of cursed lampreys as well. We got a fairly large number of those spawning. And so again, we were able to comfortably beat that, but it's not the ones that spawn at the beginning that get you. It's the number that spawn throughout the rest of the wave that can become pretty dangerous. How you lose on this character is taking a couple hits off the beginning and never recovering, and then just having so many more lampreys spawn that they put you under pressure for the rest of the wave, and you just never have enough HP to survive. Javelin is such a good weapon, though, that we are getting a lot more safety just because of that. Next wave, I think I might buy like 1 bait, but I'm certainly not going to buy more than 1 because we're going into an elite wave. And although we have decent damage, we don't have enough damage to just destroy the elite immediately, which is what you usually would have on Fisherman, but we've ended up buying a little bit less. I'm going to not buy the compass because it didn't get cursed. I'm going to roll here, and I'm just looking for damage. And then we will buy Javelin and Javelin. Fin I will buy because it gives me lifesteal, so we'll take that. And I think we're going to pass on buying baits at all, so I'm just going to re-roll here. We'll lock the black belt because if it gets cursed, I'll buy it. Ice Cube, we currently have no way to deal elemental damage, so we're just going to lock the black belt, and then we're going to go to this next wave and try to kill the elite as quickly as possible. So even though the elite... even though we didn't buy baits this wave, we're still going to get the lampreys that spawn later in the wave, so I wanted to just kill the elite without any interference. And again, because I don't want to put my life total under pressure before too many of these guys start spawning, and if the elite had lived a little longer and started dealing damage to us, then we could have started falling pretty far behind pretty quickly. Walking into every attack there. We've bought enough baits that we're getting a lot of enemy spawns, and with the number of pufferfish in this wave as well, that's quite dangerous to us. Very glad I have this whetstone. Our lifesteal is a real component of our healing. I'm leaving a lot of materials on the ground, but that's totally fine. We managed to survive. That's all we care about. The Mammoth, of course, we're going to grab. Losing 8% damage, not a big deal. We've boosted our move speed a lot, which is something that I prioritized very heavily. And the 20 melee damage will just help us one-shot every enemy much faster. The Black Belt, I am going to pass on because it's not cursed. And 3 melee damage. The XP gain at this point is not that important either. Buy the Javelin and then roll. Starting at half health is pretty dangerous for this character, but I do want as much regeneration as we can get. And with 11% lifesteal, I think the Sad Tomato will be good, but what we're going to do, I think, is actually just lock it, because that way I can still buy a bunch of bait. Our weapons already attack faster than the ball and chain. I could try to lock the ball and chain as well. We have a fishhook, and if you get it cursed, then the penalty goes down for this item as well. So I think what we're going to do is buy a few more baits and then just lock a couple items. And if either of those get cursed, we have 20% pity bonus also because our fishhook has not been performing. So there's a decent chance we get one of these locked or one of these cursed. Gonna drink some water. So I've bought 4 baits this wave. The Fisherman should show you a counter for how many baits you've bought in the shop, because I always lose track, which obviously is my fault, but the game could enable my laziness better. So I'm pretty sure we bought 4. I'm just going to go to the next wave with 4, because I wasn't sure if I'd maybe bought 5. Looks like I had, in fact, bought 5. That looked more like 5 than 4 to me, but someone let me know in the comments. Wow, that mini-boss spawned instantly. I guess the Stargazer spawned right on top of the tower. Huge groups of lampreys everywhere. I think I might have passed a candle at some point. I picked up white flag. I might have passed candle. I probably should have taken candle. I'm so used to ignoring that item that if I saw it, I probably just, my brain just completely glazed over it, but I probably should have taken it if it was available. Mini bosses, of course, very dangerous because they just put a lot of projectiles on the field. Ugly Tooth we don't need. Charcoal I'll take, just more damage. And Pumpkin is amazing. Of course, Javelin has piercing fall off because it's technically a ranged weapon, even though it scales with melee damage, so the Pumpkin gives us a lot more value. I'll take the lifesteal here, and then... Okay, so the ball and chain got cursed. Our weapons attack at 0.62, so we will not hit the point where they're not attacking. We're not going to get them attacking fast enough to be faster than 0.43 anyways. So the ball and chain's just a ton of great stats for basically no penalty. I'm going to leave the Sad Tomato for one more wave, and then I'm going to roll here. I will combine and buy another Javelin. Roll one more time. Cursed Bait, like I said, we actually want to avoid buying, but I'll take the Lure here. That can be, obviously it's good for our economy, but it's also good for our regen, and it's effectively just 2 free consumables, so it's like buying half a garden just for this next wave, which will make it easier to survive against the elite. Do I want one more reroll? I think I will, just because I could potentially lock something good to curse. Unfortunately, we missed, and for 36, I'm not going to roll again. So again, we just wanted to kill the elite quickly, so I decided not to buy any baits. I probably could have bought like 2 this wave, and it would have been fine, but we're just playing for maximum safety. A lot of this is just based on feel as well, and kind of, I don't have a strong heuristic for how many baits I'm buying every wave or anything like that. It's just based on having played a lot of this game and having intuition about what I can get away with and what I can't. So, what I recommend for the Fisherman is play the run once, learn how many baits you can buy each wave, and then even if you lose the first time, you will have a way better idea the second time. And of course, you can follow my Fisherman guide. I've done them with Slingshot, I've done it with Spear, so you should have some advantages there if you follow those guides. Frozen Heart, we actually have positive elemental damage, and the Cursed Frozen Heart, that's a lot of base damage, so I'm going to pick this up. Explosive Shells, of course, doesn't do anything. Baby with a Beard, we're still passing on. Fertilizer at this point, I guess it's fine. It will give us 2 ticks for the 13. But at -1 melee damage, I think I'm just going to pass on it. Gonna reroll here. Take the dodge, because that will boost my defensive stats more. We're going to pass on Black Flag. I do not want to increase the number of enemies on the field. I don't want to increase their health or damage. So this is, the only time you're ever going to see me pass Black Flag. I've had the Sad Tomato locked for a long time. I am going to buy it. I'll buy the bait. I'll buy the mastery. I'm going to roll here. People get really scared of Sad Tomato, but it just gives you so much sustainability over the course of the wave, and we'll heal back up to full pretty much right away because of our lifesteal. 2 baits. Also, we have a lot of stuff to lifesteal off of because we've got so many enemies on the field. That's a Javelin and 3 baits. I'll take Defective Steroids. I'm going to roll again. I'll take a 4th bait and the Blindfold, and 4 baits is fine. Triangle of Power, I'm going to lock, because if it gets cursed, I think we will be happy to buy it. So, taking those hits, and then we just use these consumables to heal back up. And we're back to full. Despite having the Sad Tomato. The main downside of that is that we don't have those 2 fruits on the ground, because I used them to heal back up already. But that's totally fine, because now we've got way more regeneration for the rest of the wave. So when I take these random hits from the remaining lampreys, and remember, as I keep saying, it's the later ones that get you. It's not the ones that spawn off the start. It's the fact that there's just so many for the rest of the wave. So having the regeneration to keep us alive during this part of the wave is way more important. Just running away from that pufferfish. The pufferfish is really scaring me because they fire so many projectiles. I'm getting very oppressed in terms of my movement. I'll take the Clockwork Wasp. That's just 10% speed. It's pretty good. I don't really need to go faster than 30% though, so we're going to recycle here. I'll take 4 more regen. And then Triangle didn't get cursed. We probably will take a bunch of hits, so I'm not going to buy the Triangle. I'll buy a bait. I'll roll here. I will buy a bait. We'll buy Penguin. Roll again. Obviously don't need Bag. We'll go to, I think, 4 baits. Ooh, Cursed Bloody Hand. That would be awesome. So we're going to go with 4 baits. We'll take the Lemonade. I'm going to combine and buy a Javelin and then reroll. Obviously, we're going to buy the Bloody Hand regardless. Extra Stomach doesn't do anything. Buy 1 more bait and lock the metal and call it good. Can't remember if I bought 4 or 5 in that shop, but nobody ever said I was good at counting. So, doing really well so far. I'm really hoping that we can just kill the bosses really quick. So we're not going to buy baits, assuming I make it through wave 19. We're not going to buy any baits wave 20, and we're just going to try to kill the bosses immediately. And that will be a really nice win. I've been dreading the Fisherman. Definitely one of the characters I've been most afraid of. I was very happy when we rolled Javelins. Promise that I did not cheat on the reroll or anything, on like rerolling our weapon or anything. I'll take the helmet here, and I will recycle lens, of course. Losing 4% dodge, but it gives me some melee damage crit chance. I think I do want this. I just want to kill the bosses as quickly as possible. I will take 4 regen just as kind of a safety measure. Take the metal. We'll take Bloody Hand. It's a huge amount of bonus damage, and the lifesteal is good as well. And then I will roll here. The Adrenaline, I think, is fine. If I buy that, can I buy the Javelin? I can't, so I'm just going to buy Javelin. Then we'll roll. I'll take Small Fish. That will help us kill the elites faster, and then we will roll again. And then, hopefully, we can take out the bosses here and have one 51 in a row, including the single hardest character, the Fisherman. So let's see what we can do here. Gonna try to kill that boss super fast, and we got it. And this is how Fisherman should go, because by this point you should have enough damage that you just absolutely obliterate the bosses, which we did. Alright, I feel really good about that run. We ended up with 51 baits, which is pretty low for Fisherman. I usually end up with more like 100 by the end of the run. But, like I said, having not played with this weapon before, we just wanted to play it conservatively and make sure that we could get a nice clean win. The early Peaceful Bee, I'm not sure about. I wasn't sure at the time. I think it was still worth it, because dodge is still pretty good on this character. The bag gave us 330 materials. That is a lot of materials for one bag, too. This bag wildly overperformed. I found a lot of crates, apparently. I didn't really notice at the time, but 330 from one bag is a lot. Because that means we got, what, like 21 crates, something like that? Or, no, I'm doing that math wrong, but a lot of crates. I guess 22 crates. The fishhook actually ended up being pretty good. The nail, I think, was fine. Buying all this luck early definitely did help, so I'm pretty happy that we got, like, the Shady Potion and the Lost Ducks and stuff. Having really high movement speed was great. Blindfold, all these blindfolds were nice as well. They gave us a little bit of extra safety and a bunch of crit chance, which is still okay on Javelin. It's certainly not amazing, but Javelin has higher crit multipliers, so crit chance can still be good even though you have the guaranteed critical. It's basically you're buying less crit chance because sometimes you just crit automatically, but the critical hits are better. So even at a reduced rate, crit chance can still be good occasionally on Javelin. Coupon was fine. I mean, good, but not incredible because this was a fairly low economy run. The Silver Bullet worked out pretty well. Just killing those elites really fast was good, and I felt like we chose the right number of baits at basically every wave. The Ball and Chain also worked out really well at the end because it got me up to 14 armor, so we were much less in danger. Anything else really interesting? Bloody Hand, of course, just a lot of lifesteal is mostly the reason we bought that. Just gave us a little more safety, and all these cursed items near the end, of course, were very good as well. All right, that is our 51st or 52nd, if you count the double Technomage run, win in a row. We are getting through some of the most difficult characters. We still have a couple really tough ones remaining, but Fisherman was probably the single character I was most afraid of for the win streak, so really happy to have gotten that win. As always, of course, my friends, if you have enjoyed the video, feel free to leave a comment and hit like. Helps me out with the algorithm, so I appreciate you taking the time to do that. And you can subscribe to my channel for more Brotato and other strategy game analysis. Cheers, folks. I'll catch you next time.